for this one. Oh wow, we have the green thing. Okay, we should be good.
All right.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, you know what? We're not gonna jinx it. We're not gonna say anything.
I fight for my
We
brothers
are
in
live
arms,
again.
and do
We
what
are
must be done to be strong in
somewhat
this world.
back. Okay, we are live. We are visible. We're moving. Excellent. Fantastic. Um, so, welcome everyone. Sorry for the tech delay. We are back here with our Bronze Age Collapse campaign, and today we are joined by Professor Tim Hogue from University of Pennsylvania, who has very graciously agreed to join us for this campaign that is essentially, we are leaving a trail of destruction and sadness wherever we move. So thank you for joining us. If
Thanks
you
for
want
having me.
to, it's always a pleasure to have people who know what we're talking about, right? That couldn't be me. I am an Iron Age gal. So if you want to tell our viewers what is your specialty, what is your, what is it that you teach, what is it you study, and why do we care about the Sea People and the Bronze Age?
Well, let's see. The like one word answer to my specialty that's like not the most popular word, but I'm trying to get it to catch on, is Levantology. I study the Levant, the history of the cultures and the languages there. My specialty is really the Iron Age, and then my secondary specialty is Late Bronze Age. I spent a lot of time playing around there, particularly Carchemish, which I see we're about to hit.
Yes.
But I've played around with the Sea Peoples. My research is, kind of all over the Levant. I started off as a Hebrew Bible person, and that's still kind of the through line of a lot of my work, but trying to place it within its Levantine context. And occasionally that's meant just learning about a particular city in the Levant without any kind of biblical overtone. So what do I teach? I teach us basically like two lines at Penn. So one that's more Bible oriented, so courses like Intro to Hebrew Bible. I'm teaching like history of Jerusalem right now. And then one that's a little more archaeology focused. So like I'm teaching history of writing systems right now. And I approach that as like an experimental archaeology course. Like this week we went down into the labs and carved ancient Chinese characters on bones, stuck them under the microscope and compared them to the Bronze Age inscriptions, see what did we get right, what did we get wrong.
I have questions about the bones, but I'm not going to ask them.
Yeah, so pretty much, I feel like I'm interested in everything. So when I get an excuse to play around, I'm all like, if I read Egyptology, I think I wish I was an Egyptologist. If I read like Mesoamerican archaeology, I think I wish I was a Mayanist. Like nothing is uninteresting to me. Why do we care about the Sea Peoples? Because they kind of jacked everything up when they showed, or at least according to our ancient sources. I think they're also really interesting because they push on like what can we even know about peoples in this time, particularly peoples who are not leaving their own records. Because we basically get the Sea Peoples, mentioned in a handful of Egyptian inscriptions, and then you might have. I like to think that they're in the Amarna letters, but people argue about that.
You can talk about that with Briana, whose specialty is the Amarna period. So you can, this can become an Amarna letter discussion. I am all for it. I am not a linguist, but but that is really cool. So, what is the extent, like the geographic extent of the Levant? Because we say we say the Levant, and then some people think we should not say the Levant because east of what and east of what. What is the extent of the Levant when we talk about archaeology?
So I think different people mean different things by the term. I try to use it as all-encompassing as possible, which is not everybody would agree with these boundaries, let's say. But for me, the Levant is west of Mesopotamia and still within Asia. So I would say west of like the Euphrates, and then I would just rope in Anatolia down to the southern Levant. Like once we get to Egypt, I'll let them do their own thing.
Okay.
Incidentally,
But of course,
that is exactly the area we have revealed. That's sort of southern Anatolia down to the Sinai Peninsula. So everything currently uncovered on the map.
Including, but not limited to, the center of Carchemish. So,
Yes.
in the previous episodes, as you may have seen, we have destroyed everything in our, in our way, and we've
I'm a perfect
reached collapse state. So there is a civilization meter at the top. Yeah, and it can be from good to collapsed. And the more cult centers one raids or destroys, the more civilization goes down, right? So it is a very choices were made there, right? Because what is civilization? Who is civilized? And and look at there's the forecast, like the collapse forecast, which is something that perhaps we need in our days.
Yeah.
But so we are traveling around. Did you see
Only
our
strength matters.
our fearless leader and what he looks like? And do you have any comments on that? Our
Yes,
fearless
let's,
leader, Iolaus.
our blonde
Yes, this guy.
Iolaos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a weird. So
eyes open always.
how many of our sea peoples are there? Sheridan, Denyen,
Blades and
Teleset,
torches ready.
Eshwesh, Jekher, etc. I would guess. Well, I know I'm not guessing. I've read the stuff. The two we know the most about are the Peliset and the Denyen. So why we chose the Sheridan, which they're like number 3, but then it seems like the approach is just like some of it's mishmash of the other sea peoples,
Easy to tear down.
and some of it's just made up. So,
You should see their gods.
Yeah.
did I hear right? They're Etruscan.
They are Etruscan. They are.
All of them.
Yeah.
So that's like one of the theories for the Teresh, right? Is that they were Etruscan, but by no means fully accepted or confirmed. But Teresh kind of sounds like Etrusca. So they're mixing that in.
Fanning the flames.
His name sounds Mycenaean to me,
Yes,
but
I
I'm
think.
not an. Yeah.
It's a very Greek sounding name. Like even like later than Mycenaean, right? It's very, very Greek. If it was more Mycenaean, there may be a W somewhere, or
Right.
a semi-consonant that then dropped because it would be syllables. This is me pretending to know what I'm talking about. Sometimes I do.
Found me. Good job.
But yeah, they need choices, right? In terms of material culture too, we have the beautiful figure of 8
Remain on your
shields,
toes.
and
Brother
these
rests, and so do we.
not really Mycenaean-looking armors from some of them, but then our other general is an actual like fashion icon. That
Knave.
general who has he's an
Whoa.
Etruscan name. He has made choices. Look at him.
I think we can get.
Yeah, if you look
I'm
on
just
the
making-
ancillary
There we go.
thing, you can see. Look at him. I mean,
the
sir.
3 different kinds of helmet ornamentation, like the
All
black
together.
robes. He's got a horn that he's wearing over his belt. He's powerful stuff.
He looks like a variant of Loki.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
what is this
really.
coming from?
He does. Those horns, like when we
Prosper at all
before we
costs.
gave him like one of the ancillaries and one of the armors, he had like a
Last
helmet with like 2
sunrise,
horns with
Hittite.
his like Etruscan. But now he's like just he's just decided to be America's next
much
top model, and he's put all
Retreat.
on the helmet. And it's like okay, it's
This
just
city will be
it's
ours.
just. Whereas our,
Continue the
army of
siege.
cannon fodder basically
Meet
has the
your
plumes, right? Which is the Egyptian design for the sea people, where some of the sea people, and he just has the plume thing, which is also Briana's design for her new stickers.
Yes. That one's. This gets at, I think, one of the really interesting mechanics, talking about like sea people composition and all that, is if you go down the burn down civilization route, and you
Which is us.
yes, and you accrue enough. I think it's called like eminence is what they call it.
Yes.
But basically fear. You can convince local populations to rise up and join you out of economic opportunism. I know.
Or
Interesting.
terror.
And was that just Malacha coming down?
Yes.
So that's a
Oh.
weird spelling they chose. But I don't know how pedantic we want to get.
Oh, please do. We've been renaming when we did the campaign with the Egyptian generals. We renamed all of them because we didn't like their names. They weren't traditionally Egyptian at all. We're like, no, we're renaming everyone here. So please be as pedantic as you want.
But yeah, this is Maladia is how they've spelled it. I don't know enough about the Hittites to really talk about like orthography.
Now,
But
Oh, Wallachia.
I seek money. And
no,
power.
Maladia with an M.
That's it.
Oh, yeah, it sounds like because
This
it's
is your last day.
Malacha is like the sort of modern-ish designation, but ancient would be like Milizi. Melid if we're reading like a Semitic rendering of it, and it's like they merged a bunch of those
I seek
to
what
get
cannot be found.
Melidia.
Honestly,
Last
merging a
sunrise,
bunch
I
of different things is kind of
As long
a
as it
lot of
takes.
what they did here.
Say
As
your
far
final
as
words.
just designs
Life is
go,
not fair.
especially
Neither am
outside of
I.
Egypt, things get really compressed.
Yeah. Well, and I guess there's like merit to that and generating interest.
Yes.
And it depends on how well you couch it. I mean, like the sort of giving my like nerd's background to how I ended up in the field was watching The Mummy.
History will
Like
remember.
clearly this configuration of people didn't exist, but I'm sure I could find something about somebody named Seti and someone named Imhotep and someone named Nefertiti and someone named Anaxnamun, and I just kept reading, like looked up the names and figured out who the real people were and went down a historical rabbit trail. But if people are assuming that this is the correct configuration, that's a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, that is a problem with video games, right? When they
Interesting
want to
spot.
be educational, but they need to maintain some level of entertainment. But the line is not very clear in the marketing material either, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Who's time?
is this
Not
like
me.
our riff on how history is, or is this like we have a historical consultant, therefore everything is right? Because I mean,
Right.
unfortunately, who are inside academia, alas, know that like historical consultants are never listened to, or like very rarely listened to. But people who play these games may actually take them at face value, which, I mean, we're gonna drink the Egyptian Kool-Aid, aren't we?
Head over there.
Because this is Egyptian propaganda 101, right? I always tell my students, yeah, this is what Egyptians tell us, so we're gonna drink the Kool-Aid and assume that that is true. We know that it's probably not, right?
Yeah.
Right, there may be issues there. Oh boy, what is it? Oh, it's Civil War time.
Yes, this is the second Egyptian civil war we're getting, I think.
They really are in shambles over there, huh?
Yeah.
The twin brothers turn against
We
each
got
other.
the first one when Merneptah died, and now what is going on? What drama are
Virtues
we?
abandoned.
Apart from people with questionable headdresses, but everyone lived. Everyone definitely lived. Among these people, they're all buff.
Bloodshed is inevitable.
Nice. We're,
That's pretty awesome though. That's a good cutscene.
Yeah.
Also, the houses are like, fair enough. That's what houses in the region would look like. There is always a question of why are we being told what is going on in Egypt when we are not even near there, but it's good for our info, right? That's our intelligence doing the work for us. But dang. Ooh, who's this one? This one I've never seen before.
Umani. These are like, these are Iron Age kingdoms. Like they would have maybe some bronze, like there's Bronze Age antecedents, but I don't know that we could call them the same names.
Yeah, this is where I think some creative license really was necessary for kind of filling in a lot of the gaps in Hati.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah.
Celebrating
Because
Mob.
basically,
What? Oh. So these are the ambitions that we can choose, right? So we can choose to fulfill some, like 1 out of 3, and then they give us rewards. So this one we need to raise or sack for settlements.
Amon and Jawa.
Yeah, I kind
It's
of.
Jawa.
That's this thing right here. It's like south of Damascus, apparently.
But we will receive a celebrating mob as a reward for that.
But it's sort of Shechem province, and then this little settlement in Damascus, apparently, is what we're dealing with.
Witness me.
Fair enough. Against this guy whose name is Tanit. So
Neat. That's a
that's a very gendered name.
Carthaginian goddess, isn't?
Yeah, the lady. Yeah, so either this person is called the lady, or, you know, we need to have a whole discourse about gender here.
Right.
Also, very early for, well, not too early for Carthage, because 10th century.
Let's rest and
I mean, if we want to believe that Carthage was found in the 10th century BCE, you know, and started doing things in the West in the 9th.
But I
But
noticed
yeah.
it seems like their Canaanite names, or they just pick like a random Canaanite word or god instead of, like, they should be sentence names with 2 elements.
Right.
Tanit,
Like,
it should have been Abdi Tanit. I would buy that.
Yes. Yeah, right. So they work that is like sort of like a verb or a noun, and then the name of like a god, right? Like theophoric names usually work like that, because it's the same in Egyptian. So do Canaanite names work like that? This is an actual question. I don't know how Canaanite names work.
Yeah, so Canaanite, yeah, you would have a verb or a noun, and then it's either a family member or a divine name. So, like, if we go to Amarna period, the king of Jerusalem, Abdi Cheba, the servant of the goddess Cheba or Chebat. Or there's like Eli Milku, El is king. Names like this. My favorite is Mut Baalu, Death Lord. He's one of the Canaanite kings.
That's a name. Yeah, we like that. I mean, we have Seti. Which one of his throne names? What is it? Great of Slaughter. Seti the second, not the first one. He had like something with the slaughter.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a choice.
It is a choice, considering that he was a shit king. That was certainly, maybe it was wishful thinking.
Well,
I mean, who knows?
what always gets me is looking at the Ptolemaic throne names. They're illegible. They're not sentence names, they're paragraph names. They just go on for like a page practically for each name.
You know, they needed to how do you say, to compensate for lack of legitimacy. So they just overcompensated. Instead of buying big cars or big chariots, they just had long names, which tracks for the Ptolemies.
What more can I do?
Some of the Sargonic names closed in there. Like, nobody who took the throne had too long of a name, but the other princes had ridiculously. Oh, there's like Ashur, Pele, Erzetiu, Shame, and he's got a few other pieces in there. Like, Ashur has granted me the glory of heaven and earth.
I was like, sir, keep it tight, right? Yeah, but then when you get to the name, everyone's Sargon. So I mean, everyone wishes they were Sargon.
Right.
See, this is one thing that I like about ancient Egypt. You find out what their nicknames are. Like Ramesses III's nickname was Sesi, and it's like, I think it's on his Medina Tabu temple that it's written there.
I mean,
Which I
surely
think is
you
fun.
need,
And then
you need to have.
nickname was Kui.
The times are difficult,
fun.
Pharaoh.
Do we know how these nicknames came to be, or it's just they happen, but they don't tell us how they, like, much like our nicknames.
Yeah, I think they just are.
Yeah, they just happen. No, that's great. There was
March already.
there is this one of these many bureaucratic letters with like some sort of family issue in the Petrie Museum. And the guy's name is a very long name, but in the papyrus it stated, oh, and this is the family of such and such long name, boom. And we're like, okay, that works. That's a great nickname. Short and to the point. His name was like incredibly long. But I mean, I'm sure everyone has a nickname when their name is too long. You can't pronounce entire sentences to call some, unless you're their mother and you're angry at them. In this case, I will buy that. Mediterranean mothers are all the same, no matter the time period, the religion, the ethnic group. Mediterranean mothers are always the same. Like, I will die on that hill. I'm sure they would use the whole 5 names if they were angry at their son, and their son happened to be Pharaoh.
Yes.
Like,
I could just picture
that.
Queen T. Waang Akhenaten, get over here.
With the
Doesn't this
slippery
happen in the
hands.
Amarna letters? One of the... Is it the king of Mitanni writes to the pharaoh's mother? It's like, can you talk to him?
Yeah. Oh, my boy Tashrata, I love him forever. Yeah, he got really pissed off at Akhenaten when Akhenaten wouldn't send him the statues he wanted, so he wrote a letter to T saying, can you please tell your son to do his job, basically.
Please don't touch
That's
the
my
son. Is that
favorite
your
first
son?
world problem letter. It's like, I asked for a statue made of gold, not wood outlined in gold.
Fight me.
Like, are you trying to shield me? Which the answer is always yes.
Sea pilot.
Ooh,
One
okay.
thing I really
again,
like about it, though, is that it highlights how tea was respected internationally, which is not something I mean, it probably happens more often than you think in antiquity, but being able to have that document that really shows how she was internationally respected as an authority, I just think that's really, really cool.
Venture
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have a question about tea being known internationally.
not at all.
Like, how? Like, would this be because Amenhotep #3 had sent out those fantastic scarabs with both of their names? Was it that he named her in his letters? Like, was it this a royal protocol, or was she just the exception to the rule? I don't know if there is a good answer to this, but
I don't think there is an answer, because we don't have the letters that Amenhotep sent.
alas.
But I mean, I think they would probably be aware of chief queens in each other's respective kingdoms. I would think, or at least there would be some intelligence on that matter if you needed to find out.
Right, because then Ramesses II's wife Nefertari also talks with the Hittite queen, right? They send letters to one another with a long line of platitudes at the beginning. And I hope your daughter and your other daughter and your horses and your servant and your aunt and your family, like, ma'am, I hope they're all well, thank you.
Yes, my homework this week was translating some of the Amarna letters, and that part was actually pretty nice, because, like, oh, I know how to do the first 8 lines of this letter, because it's just, and as for your house, may it be well, and as for your servants, may they be well, and, yeah, it's great.
Your chariot. I always like that they wish each other's chariots well.
I mean, do you not regularly,
Saying
like,
how's the car?
yeah, like, is that not something you put in your Christmas cards?
The car? I don't know.
Yeah.
Shania Twain would have opinions on men who do that, but she's a little later than the Bronze Age. But who knows? In the meantime, the chat is commenting, best to you and yours, but the very long version, fair, right? When you need to add all the platitudes. And someone else in the chat is saying that they rewatched 300 the other day for fun. Spartan mothers, also Mediterranean mothers, right? Also very matter-of-fact mothers. I mean, Spartan mothers did not use the slipper. I'm sure they used the flog when their children misbehaved. Oh, in what kind of place that was, right? But we do have some delightful, and by delightful I mean not what you should do with your children, Greek vases of Aphrodite herself using the slipper to like threaten little Eros because he's misbehaving, and she's like, she's with the slipper up and she's like ready to use it. So cross-cultural, cross-timely things. I will put some links in the chat. In the meantime, we are finally fighting, oh my god, a field battle. So Jacob,
Yes.
please tell our guests everything about how we fight this field, these field battles, what units we have, what we are doing.
Yeah.
Because this is the best part of it, believe it or not.
So this is actually one of the really interesting things. This is not an army of Sheridan. This is an army of Habiru. Way back, like 25 turns ago, I don't even remember which town we did this to, but one of like the major settlements of the Levant, we convinced to join us. Or more properly, we convinced their population that they could make a lot more money on the outside of their city doing the raiding than being on the inside of the city getting raided. So we got a field army, and we can't upgrade it or recruit any new units into it, but it is still pretty useful, like discounted upkeep and also, frankly, pretty decent units. So we're using it to take out some of those Hati-aligned settlements. And being a Habiru army, it's a lot of like light to medium axemen and a lot of slingers and like javelins. So very mobile and punchy. Also, everything has vanguard deployment in the army except for the general, because the general, of course, we put one of our own in charge. This is a sea people. Oh, right, they got boar tusk helmets too, because they really do lean into the Aegean origin theory, at least for the generals. But then on the other hand, the main bulk of the army is 100% Habiru. Plus, this one unit of Anatolian spearmen that we convinced to join us, because again, a big part of the sea people mechanic in this is intimidating people into helping you. Or at least
it's not I mean, what they're getting right is the sea peoples are probably mixed bands.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like migrating from all over the region, they're like kind of gathering together. I mean, it's a fun that they catch the distinction, like the Habiru are outside of urban settlement. Like that's how I would understand what that term refers to.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're people who get convinced to leave the city, but making sure that they're out of the city, that's a good catch.
Yeah, this is an interesting point, actually, because the way they do the Habiru versus the Fenku here is kind of by region, because one of the mechanics in this game that I really do like is native recruitment. Like, every faction has its own units. Like, Tausret in Egypt has really good chariots, because that's just how they decided to write her, as being, like, very chariot-minded, versus Seti, who's, like, the simple-minded brute with giant units of charging axemen. But then you also have units based on region. So, like, regardless of who you are, if you control Nubia, you get good archers. Or if you control, like, the Hittite homeland, you get the heavy charging chariots and the armored spearmen that the Hittites have. But kind of the odd thing they did with that is you have the Fenku are, like, coastal Levant. So, like, all the major, like, Tyre, Sidon kind of region. And then
They're like trying to make up a back formation of Phoenicia?
Fenku is an older term. Like, that does exist. But
Okay.
yeah. The weird part is that there's like a defined Habiru region, which is the Sinai and like interior Syria, basically.
Okay.
And that region is like, even if you are building up a big city there in Damascus, the troops you're recruiting are still the Habiru slingers and elite Habiru mercenaries or whatever.
So I'm guessing that's coming from the Idrimi statue inscription. He's up in Alalach, like Syria, and hangs out with the Habiru, and then otherwise the Habiru are all over the place. In the Amarna letters, you get them outside of Shem. I mean, they're mentioned all the time. So, I mean, they could be in Sinai, but they wouldn't be limited to it.
No, it is broad, like, because it does get to Alalak, and in Shem, and I think, Jerusalem. Like, it's basically a coastal versus interior distinction, which it makes some sense if you're assuming that the, like, recruitment pool that you're getting, even if you are a city dweller in Alalak, the best soldiers are being recruited out of, like, the shepherd populations 20 miles away.
Right.
but it is. I'd say it's generally pretty well executed and pretty interesting. I wish the Libyan units were better. Like they're just kind of bad, and uninteresting mechanically. What they should. I think, in my opinion, the Libyans should have some pretty interesting fighting capabilities to them, but they kind of got neglected. But everyone else has some good stuff going on.
So were the Fanku the guys with the Phoenician Sphinx on their flags?
That was my question, because the banners here are very interesting, because sometimes some of the imagery is correct, it's like appropriately Bronze Age, and sometimes you look at it and you ask yourself why, what, and from where does this come from? When we fought, I think we fought Amurru, and they had a lion and a lioness like kind of pulling each other's faces as their symbol, and we were like,
My rabble will kill yours.
right? Our symbol is basically the symbol of Mordor. We have
Yes.
a sun disk over flames, so we are Sauron, is what we're
Sea
hearing.
pirate and adventurer.
Which, to be fair, we are kind of doing what Sauron would be doing to Middle Earth, so perhaps we are the baddies all along. And then we have, oh my god, have we seen the other sea people? Because they're still there,
Yes,
right?
they
They're
are.
still
They're
around.
so.
Oh, there we go.
This is Wawete's.
Speak slowly and carry yourself
What
well.
is his symbol?
Then we
That's
can
kind of hard to make out here, but oh no, it's an octopus holding an axe.
So that's really fun, actually.
I mean, go. I had puns about holding one axe when you could hold 8 because you got 8 arms. But please tell us about the octopus.
Sea pirate.
So the octopus, this is a
Adventure
fun
seeker.
thing because it's at
Woman, I
UPenn,
get it.
the Penn Museum.
I'm going immediately.
It's not on display.
Oh,
If you follow so it's not Philistine wear, but if you follow the like coastal wear inland, there's one sherd from Bet Shemesh, or no, sorry, not Bet Shemesh, Bet Shean, that has an octopus tentacle on it. So presumably had the rest of the thing on there. So like we have that kind of symbol attested. I don't know of any other examples of it, but it's a really beautiful octopus tentacle. I pull it out for my students, not with really any other reasoning than it's cool.
that is
Yeah, I
pretty
was gonna
cool.
say
Hey,
now that you're mentioning it, I think I remember because we I
We had it
class
last
for everyone. Yeah,
semester.
we did the museum pottery collection basically, and that was some very interesting stuff talking about like cultural exchange, but also yes, the octopus.
Yeah,
The
I don't really
octopus
know how you
pages.
connect it to the Peliset other than it probably being a coastal form, but
I'm waiting.
unless the Pelazet come from Eritrea in Evia, and then the symbol of Eritrea on their coins is an octopus, but much later than the Bronze Age. It's a later thing, right? It's a questionable thing. It's also dangerous with all these banners because you're like, it's a little too early for that, huh? Unless. And then they have the double eagle of the eagle of the Hittite Empire. So that, that's fair. Can we upgrade anything on
Yeah,
our
I'm just
very
getting-
Etruscan army?
Getting the general tribal assembly, because right now we don't really need better recruitment. We'll see, because I think it looks like Shupalilioma is thinking that he can reclaim all this burnt down territory, and we burnt it for a reason, and it's supposed to stay that way. So we may need to put an end to aspirations of reunification of the Hittites.
Yeah, they ain't gonna unify anything. But we will burn some more cult centers.
Oh yes, because
Because
there's
we can.
Maladia.
Which is right there. We are also apparently able to build Nuragi towers. So we are from Sardinia because we can build, the half conical towers wherever we are, wherever we go.
Right, Shechem is coming out to fight us. So yeah, this is our main army, so it'll be a good opportunity to showcase just how the
Oh, let's
the
go.
Sheridan work.
Zephon.
Oh, that's ominous. I just like the last king of Ugarit that they pointed that one out. Like, oh, yep.
Well. Yeah. Yeah. These are like the citations that are like the quotes that are actually real are great. The ones that are interpretations of the generals are like
Yeah, they definitely use some weird ones, like especially of battles that could not have possibly happened, like the battle between Seti II and Karunta, the usurper of the Hittite Empire. And it's like, I don't know that that would have taken place at all.
yeah, we are rewriting history, which is a lot of fun.
But yes,
But still.
this is the coolest unit I think that they introduced: harpooners.
Yes.
You can see
Look at them.
the jagged spears to
fun.
get stuck in, and pretty good melee capacity on top of it. But yeah, the enemy reinforcements are going to be coming in through this pass, and we can't really have that. And
I
then
mean,
we'll
good luck.
Oh yeah, they if you fight outside of the city, you can see the actual like how the city is set up, and they other than the fact that the harbors tend not to actually be on the ocean, they do a really good job of it. Like you can see the citadel here. They really they like to work like in rocky areas. The natural wall like rock walls will intermix with the fortifications.
Did they give it an Anantis temple
Let's see.
over on the Citadel, or is this supposed to be the palace?
I think this is the palace.
Okay.
Yeah, with all those columns outside, it is cool, and it is region appropriate because in Egypt the cities are all like very Egyptian looking, and the terrain is different. And the good thing is that when you are fighting against certain factions like the Hittites, during a storm they get a bonus because their god is the storm god.
Oh, that's great.
And when you fight in sandstorms, if you are Seti, you get a bonus because Set is protecting them.
Oh, that's
So
fantastic.
they really went for like, yes, let's do the mythology thing, which is great because it adds like some more, like it makes you want to fight in different conditions than just, dry, clean day. No, let's just use the elements to our advantage, which is great.
Yeah.
And they also introduced setting things on fire and setting the vegetation on fire, which we have been using a lot. Especially last time, we burned people alive because they weren't moving. We're like,
Yeah, they were just standing in the underbrush on a dry day next to the archers, and that was that.
like, sorry guys, it is your problem. What is the banner of this faction?
So for Shechem, let's see. It
I
looks
never
to me
really
like it was just
looked
kind
at
of a. Oh no, it's not just a person. It's like a person with a helmet on, crossing their arms.
Doing the jazz hands?
It looks like a Levantine sarcophagus.
Yeah.
Like front. Like they isolated the two-dimensional version of that image.
Let's look. Some of what we would call Phoenician ones. The anthropoid coffins. Yeah. Ooh. Let's see. I have fragments of one thing. There we go. 1 second. I'm gonna put it in the chat. I like to put visual references. This is like in pieces, but oh, weird. That's a weird link that came out.
Yeah.
Oh, but it does work if you open that. Yeah, there is like a face with ears and then the arms like this underneath. And those are, okay, the weirdest ones of those anthropoid coffins that just have the face and the hands are actually Carthaginian ones because you have these, especially from the 3rd century, you get these very Greek-looking faces with Greek-looking hair, but the sarcophagus is like a very square anthropoid coffin with hands. There's like a few in Palermo, a few in Malta, and it's like several in Carthage, and you're like, whoa, it's confusing, but it's great. I love them all.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's great. I love all of them.
Also, in case you're wondering how they depicted chariot warfare, this is what 6 units of low-level infantry going against 1 unit of heavy chariots looks like. See,
Listen.
they're all shattered. Because, yeah, chariots work exactly how they're supposed to. That is to say, don't just blindly charge them into people, but also, like, light infantry will just stop existing if the chariots touch them. Because, of course, they do.
Spearman! We're invincible! Wings sky-
Also, it is really fun to lure people out with chariots. That's always a good time.
Axemen! The gods reach above us!
The ancient drive-by, yes, exactly, exactly.
Isul witness!
And these are like the heavier ones. When we were using
We will
Tauret, we were actually using the chariots like
Prophet!
circling and shooting, circling and shooting. It
Yes.
was great. And she's actually on a chariot, so she's a charioteer.
Fire and blood!
Whereas like other leaders are usually like on foot, and some leaders actually have the one of the ancillaries gives them the ability to scare horses. So if an army, like if a unit of chariots or horsemen goes against them, they actually can scare them away, which is great. It's a good thing, but those are Egyptians. Like that's an Egyptian thing. I don't know if the Hittites get that, or you know the people from Canaan get that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think anybody has it here. Going up against a city-state type faction, they're usually not gonna have a lot of good ancillaries or anything like that. But
No, you're also gonna play like for a little longer to get the ancillaries. But we've discovered, like I think it was our first screen, that the ancillary units that you get are not divided by gender because we got
Yes.
several wives for Tauret, and we're like, okay, but you know, I guess we said Thrapple, Polycute, we don't care. We'll just take all the wives. So yeah, we got like an Egyptian one, a Canaanite one. You can get a Hittite wife too. So we're like, okay, we'll just, yeah, and they give you better relations with those ethnic groups if you married one of them, which makes sense,
Makes sense.
right? Because I don't know, have you played the previous Total War titles by any chance?
On our way!
I played Shogun 2.
Does that one have the daughters of or women of the family that you can send out to marry? Because I haven't played that one.
Yeah, so you can marry your daughters to other daimyo and vice versa. So that's a big
Right.
part of the
In
making
this
marriage
one, you
fun.
cannot. In this one,
Oh.
they took away that thing, right? Because it's mostly Egyptian. And Egyptian princesses would not go out and. But I wish they had kept it for the Hittites and other factions instead.
Right.
Because you would
Well, that
have.
would have been a very like educational thing. That, like the Egyptians don't send their women out, but everybody else does.
Everybody else does. Exactly. And when you receive the wives, which is a terrible sentence, I hate it, they need to change names, right? They need to get Egyptian names and Egyptianized. That would have been a nice touch. But that's
Yeah.
also like making games more relevant in terms of exploring the role of ancient women in the political climate.
yeah, it is kind of a shame. This is like because actually the other recent Total War that was historical did that really well. Three Kingdoms, like marriage politics, which were a
Yes.
big part of the Three Kingdoms period, were in the game, and you absolutely could do that. And
And you had to get good at it.
yes,
And it's like that's a huge deal in the late Bronze Age too, because you've got like the Mayati, like the Princess of Babylon, and the trouble that causes in the Amarna letters, and then the Tachmenset letter. That's just huge. Like, would have been a really important part of this.
Briana, cover your ears. We would have loved to kill a Hittite prince coming to Egypt to marry a dowager queen, right? I mean, what happened? Ooh, I said killed. I meant lose. Right? He got lost in a storm. The poor dude. Okay, so we defeated Zephon. And I don't know how to read the other name. I'm bad at names. I'm bad at modern names, let alone ancient ones.
I'm guessing he's supposed to be Zaphon.
Mm-hmm.
Canaanite equivalent of Olympus.
Huh.
oh, the
Defensive
Shekelish
alliance
kinfolk.
with
yeah.
with the kinfolk.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
We're
Yeah.
trusted friends with the because the kinfolk represent like because originally how the Sea-Wolves were represented in this game is they would just show up. Like, they weren't a faction that you could negotiate with. They were just like, okay, Shekelesh wave coming, here's 8 armies, and they just throw them around the map. And they would burn stuff until you killed them.
There they are.
Those armies are still around, but there's also sort of like more directed leadership
Sea
armies
pirate
like
and
what we're
adventure.
playing as, in addition to the sort of here are some opportunistic raiders that are just going to come around and take some stuff. Waves. And, of course, they immediately like us quite a bit because of our mutual objective of stealing stuff. Honor among thieves and all that.
Come on, march already.
But yeah, I think because Shipalioma disrespectfully just settled a settlement that we had burned about 1 turn ago, that we need to, I think it's probably time that we got rid of the Hittites. The Hittites are pretty strong, so this will be interesting, but we do need to take them out
Yeah.
for historical accuracy reasons.
Last sunrise.
Yes, absolutely. We gotta, you know. Oh, look at, I like his helmet.
Oh yeah.
It's interesting that they gave Suppiluliuma a god's helmet.
Oh, that. Yeah,
Not
I've wondered about
Suppiluliuma,
that.
right?
Well, no, that's not the god helmet. But if we go to diplomacy, you can see it. It is an odd choice. Shipaliuma is wearing like a medium tier god helmet with 3 horns.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's, What kind of crowns would the Hittite king wear?
They
History
wear
of
a
hats.
big conical crown.
Sea pirate and
Like
adventurer.
if you search for like Tudhalia,
Ready to go.
you can find an image of him with the big cone crown. It's like a little flat on the top, but that's their royal crown.
That's royal one. And the gods would have the horns instead.
The gods have the horns.
Sea
Okay.
and spittle.
Interesting choices.
Yep. If you want a really good visual, I think if memory serves the Steel of Hammurabi has some really good divine horns on the dedication image
Yeah.
on the top.
Yeah, the god actually has. Okay.
Anything else?
All right. Hello. Chat drive by as I need to leave in a few minutes again. How goes the Bronze
Time
Age
for
collapsing?
drums and
It's
wine.
collapsing. It's popping. And by popping, I mean everything is in flames and dust. And we are now, you know, we are going to take down the Hittites because it is necessary. You know, our Etruscan gods told us to do so. So we are doing that. It is necessary at this point. How are we doing in terms of units? Do we need better units? Can
Yeah, that's
we
what
get
I'm
better
thinking.
units?
Because these javelineers are not really great. They're very low tier, and
Does
we
anyone
have
else
we
like
have archers,
fire?
which can burn stuff down, which I'm always very into.
Excellent.
And I also want to
Excellent.
replace these guys with a higher tier because we've been talking about the Narages.
Yeah.
All soldiers,
We have the Naragic
oh
axe
my.
wielders with their nice sharp horn like bull helmets. It looks like.
Battle hardened Nuragi warriors, incredible, fantastic. We're like, you know. We also have skill points that we
Oh
can
yeah,
give to-
I clicked enter back. I was
points,
trying to pop over to the skill point thing. We'll fix that in a moment. Oh, one of the really interesting things about this that's leads to a lot of good conspiracy theories. Basically, every non-character faction is named after like just the city it's from, right? Except for Setnacht, who is not a playable character, but it's named Setnacht.
Huh.
And of course, Setnacht played a very important role that this game likes to,
No
or does not
fight,
really deal
no
with.
might.
Because we have his son,
I'll make
right?
them
It's also
squeal.
not like never expressly like said that is that Seknacht. But
Here's
it's
another
very...
dude with a girl's name.
Yes, Anat. Yes, he's also called the lady. Like,
Yep.
Like, what are you trying to tell us? What is going on here? I mean, I do wonder. if they just open like a list of Canaanite names and just chose them, you know, no matter what. And, like gender, we don't know her. Let's just call all of them with like names of deities at that, right? Names of goddesses. Oh, well.
Yeah. We just stole his good units and then killed the rest of them, as one does.
As one does. That is our. That's what we do. Is that? Yeah, that's our dude, Autocore.
I carve my own path.
Oh,
Yes.
Othakor. Oh, that's an interesting name. I guess I don't really know what it means, but and we got some scouting information on Egypt, so we can see Ramses hanging out in the Sinai as he tends to do.
There seems to be a lot of strife in Egypt, like a lot of faction, a lot of small faction rather than a big one, which is interesting. I'm not saying we should conquer Egypt because we need to conquer the Hittites, but
Oh no,
just saying.
we are gonna. I think we got to do both. We don't fight the Egyptians at least a little bit. And look where
We're going to
Iolaus
burn the ward.
conveniently
This
is.
time.
Exactly. Oh, I mean, you know, Yapo, Megiddo, and Ashkelon are right there,
Yeah.
there, again.
And I do really want to take out Ashkelon. I want to see which. Okay, Yapo gets us food, which is good, because we definitely do need food at this point.
Who's
Eh.
tired? Not me.
Like we cannot plant, so we can
This
just
guides
steal
us.
choices, right?
Yes, exactly. We could if we wanted to, like, actually conquer settlements, but also, we've unlocked now Follower of Isul.
Ooh.
If we go Horde and Camp,
Bloodlust.
yeah, it gives our bodyguard the Bloodlust ability, which I feel like we have to take. It feels very appropriate.
Yes, they are. Yeah, it's very in character.
Prosper at all costs.
Where did they start the Sheridan? Up at Ugara?
No, at like Tarsus.
So again, it's like the Teresh.
I
Yeah.
seek money.
That's interesting.
Power. That's it.
Yeah, we are not. Oh, okay.
Also, we've
we're
unlocked our
still-
second god dedication slot. So now
Let's
we
go.
decide if
Okay.
we need Alpano or Laron.
Laran is the god of war, right? Should be Laran.
Yes.
And it is the god of war. So, and it has the horns. I'm
All right,
just
yes,
saying.
that is a good point. Yeah, we'll.
I'm just saying. You know, for fashion reasons. Also for like
I am here.
war reasons. Because can we dedicate a
This
general
place
to
is
him? Not
history.
yet, right?
Not yet. We need to build up the favor.
Continue
fair.
the siege. Speak now.
Okay.
Prepare to die.
So now we just need to wait this one out
Hmm.
a little while. Because that's Maladia is a pretty well defended settlement at the moment, but we'll.
Yeah, their units are not trash as usual. So we've had it like pretty, you know, pretty easy in some cities. Oh, good. Our fashion victim is growing. Good for him. He's great. He's fantastic. Like the moment we recruited him with that helmet, we were like, yes, this is the man. This is the man for us. There's no other man for us. And down there, which cities did we have to conquer?
It's just Jawa
To
now
get
that we
the-
have to burn down.
Okay, great.
And we're sending
Fantastic.
this army over here to do it, which will hopefully be enough.
Yeah. Hopefully. They're also pretty isolated. There's nobody coming to
Alright.
help them.
This will be interesting. Our mixed army, we can see this is I kind of want to fight this one out, although we would win it just because it's an interesting battle.
Okay. I was asking if we could buy some of their units, but that's okay. We can win it.
Yeah. No, I those powers are good, but you can only do them so often. So I kind of like to save them for when you wouldn't win otherwise, or when you just need another army to cause yet more problems. Oh, we got this nice little village here.
Interesting.
This will
And then
be
yeah, this is a our Hittite city.
Yeah, it looks very Hittite.
Yep, different from the Canaanite one. The palace design is definitely very different.
Yeah.
Like how the towers are set out. And if Unfortunately, if we had the full, I can just get a glimpse. Oh, we can get one here. Look at that beautifully painted statue on the back of the god with the chariot. The zoom isn't going to let me really show it off.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
That's just like the Chinakoi statue. Although again, that's an Iron Age, Neo-Hittite piece of sculpture, but I mean, it's a fun little detail.
Yeah, I think a decent amount of this is definitely we don't have enough sources from this time, so let's do the next best thing, which, you know, laudable.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the sort of through line we seem to get with the Neo-Hittites is it is a decent amount of continuity from the late Bronze. Like the Bronze Age collapse doesn't seem to hit them as hard, at least in Syria.
Company, move out!
Everybody down there.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit as because they're going to wait for the reinforcements to come in before actually moving everybody, I think. So they might be blocking their own reinforcements from spawning?
Geniuses. Geniuses.
Yeah, because the reinforcement point is like here, but nobody's coming in because they've positioned their army so close to their reinforce. Oh, great. All right. Well, it's a decent idea anyway, but we're gonna now have to, in order to make the battle actually happen, bait them out.
We are unstoppable! March!
So we have a bunch of slingers, and we're just gonna cause them some headaches, pun intended.
Necessarily. What is their symbol? Is that the Phoenician Sphinx?
It is a Phoenician Sphinx.
Yes.
It is. It
I think we
actually
get
is.
one. It looked to me like there's a Sphinx on that building right over there, which is probably supposed to be some kind of temple.
I mean, like, we've got a lot of art from Malacha. Like, they could have chosen
Yeah,
something.
this one they definitely didn't like
better.
bother that much with fleshing out the faction, because it's, you don't get to play as them. They're just like one of the things one of the Hittite factions you're going to vassalize and or push through if you're playing as a Hittite faction.
Aim through! Slings loose! They will never stop us!
Ooh. Can we set something on fire? I mean,
Not with the slingers, but our archers are set to
Yep.
set things on fire. So once they start advancing through this like forest and
That's
village,
good.
we can do that.
oh, we will certainly take advantage. They're just standing there.
We will
Yep.
shower them with snow!
I mean, not doing too hot, guys. Please.
No. Honestly, more than anything else, I'm hoping with the slings that it'll wear down their armor durability. Which also, that's a really cool mechanic in this game. I think I really do want to give the devs some credit for that one. That like, as a way to balance heavier units, they do lose armor strength as time goes on.
That's cool. That's a cool thing to add.
So if you pelt them for like a long time, they can, they can become less effective. That's a good way to like debuff a very buff units.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would just be a little too much.
I wonder if the AI is waiting until they lose a couple of models or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're waiting for. They're not moving.
Weird.
They're literally not moving. maybe they have like actually blocked the reinforcements, so they cannot move until the reinforcements arrive. But since they are blocking them, they won't move.
Yeah.
That would be my assumption.
Well, yeah, but I mean, why they aren't moving while they're taking fire and not returning any? That's what's really getting me.
Yeah, they glitched out.
Swing and loose.
I mean, I'm not mad at that, but it's not entertaining for us. It's just
Yeah, this is strange.
it is a weird thing.
There we go.
Okay,
Now that one of the
okay,
units is
okay.
routing, that's making them think again.
Took them some time, but you know.
Use those slings. Bury them in stone.
Yep, and there's their actual reinforcements.
Their reinforcements.
Oh, okay, they're coming in. Okay, that's good. It's just, you know, they just needed some time to figure it out. Maybe they got lost, you know, ancient GPS. Doesn't really work.
Right, I actually ended up writing last semester like a page-long footnote dealing with just the question of how were ancient people actually estimating distances for some of these texts where they talk about distance.
And how did they do that?
Oh,
I'm curious.
No,
I'm
I
legitimately
don't want to
curious.
spoil too much because it may be a component of a talk I am hoping to give semi-soon, but the long story short is I don't know that they always could in the way that they claim that they did. Because it turns out that celestial navigation is very hard. As is field surveying. Especially if you're trying to, like, engage on a campaign or something like that.
I mean, would they have map?
Maps, did you say?
Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
Oh, ancient cartography.
Yeah.
That
Like
is all
also, how do you define a map? Because it's like a portal on a map. Because when it just has the name of the ports that you need to follow along the coastline, is it like, you know, what is a map? Those are good questions. Like I know we have like the map of the world, like the Babylonian one, but
yeah, I honestly,
Uh,
for someone whose girlfriend is like a geographer by training, I know far too little about ancient cartography, except that it was varied, and does not necessarily, as you said, does not necessarily conform to our expectations of what a map is. They were perfectly happy to play with space in order to suit whatever their own purpose in representing it is.
Right. At least what we have left, it seems like they're using like narratives instead of iconically representing maps. I mean, you have the map of the world. I can't really think of any other thing where they draw it.
right, not in the near. Like I mean, I can think of like an Egyptian, maybe a map of the mines in Nubia, Briana. Am I imagining things? Is there like I think there was. I took one class of ancient cartography when I was in my BA. So, but I do remember like something that may or may not have been a map. But it's like a very specific region for very specific purposes, which is like where the gold mines are. But for campaign, I guess it would also be much easier to just use scouts and then write down what you met, from here to there and then from there to the next place and everything else.
Yeah. Actually, now that you mention it, so thinking about Egyptian maps, there are definitely a few Egyptian texts that could be construed kind of like maps. In particular, the Seti I campaign narratives have like an itinerary character that I think is cartographic in some sense, but it's also definitely not like they are not doing strict conformance to distance. But they are showing an itinerary very deliberately. I think that's a lot more what you're looking at. Or like the Assyrian itinerary texts are also somewhere I would go and say, okay, this is maybe a map.
The
It's like-
Assyrians are particularly interesting because there's two separate genres that will describe the same campaigns. So if it's like analytic, they'll go in chronological order, but their initial campaign reports are in geographical order. Like they go place by place and out of chronological order because they're trying to go place by place.
That's really cool.
Yes. And
That
then,
is really cool.
And then, of course, there are the occasions where they, especially for the Assyrians who would have been in this time, they really do some weird stuff with chronology. The In My First Year convention, where the entirety of the king's reign happens in the first year, those are always, they're very interesting from an ideological perspective, though also definitely not to be taken literally as a historical source. Like, no, he did not go on 8 campaigns in his first year. He ruled for 8 years, and you know, this is just the literary way of showing how like effective he was.
Yeah. The only long Moabite inscription we have is like its literary organization is based on the Wadi el-Mujib in the Transjordan. Like first it narrates everything that happened north of the Wadi el-Mujib and then everything that happened south, but not necessarily in chronological order. It's just using that to separate the text.
I think I can't remember if it's a Ramses III temple or a Seti the First. I think it's a Seti the First campaign list, yeah. Where he like the different wings of the temple are the different directions that he campaign in.
It's Medina Tabu.
Oh, it is Medina Tabu.
It's Medina
Okay,
Tabu.
yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I can tell you that much. I remember studying that especially.
Well, like we noticed last semester, I don't know if anybody's written this up yet, but like the Song of Deborah lists off the tribes of Israel. It starts like coast, Cisjordan, Transjordan. Like it's all geographically organized. And then north to south within those.
How's the fighting going? I see
Pretty well.
our Sauron troops.
It's always a little messy. Also, one of our generals is dead, which is fine. They're actually more replaceable than anybody else in these units. Because the game will automatically give you a new general, but it will not give you, like, you can't replace dominated units if they get fully wiped out. Because it's just the army that you convinced you to follow you from that city and nobody else. But we did get some good fire in. You can see the enemies retreating through this like massive area of burning. You know, always fun.
I can see their fear.
Okay. Oh, hello. There's an evil person in the chat. He's a friend. He's saying the Song of Deborah, the daughter of Israel, Jacob. That Deborah?
Use those slings.
Daughter of Israel, Jacob?
No,
Like Song of Deborah, Judges 5.
Soldiers of Hatti.
And the Temple of Medina Tabu is the not really funerary temple that is kind of shaped like which entrance is kind of shaped like a fortress, and it has a bunch of representations of the military campaigns, and it's like they're divided by which quarter of the of the cardinal directions these campaigns were taking place. It is a representation of the cosmos on a temple, on a giant temple. That also has a lot of other interesting stuff. It's not just the campaigns. But yeah, they're on those walls. Ramesses III really put emphasis on the campaigns that he did everywhere. And then he fell into a knife.
Soldiers of Hatti.
yeah.
Fell into a knife several times. Poor man.
To glory! Retreat, damn it!
It is sad. I mean, he did all of that for Egypt, and then what happened?
They will pay for their cowardice!
And then succession had to happen.
Might and glory! Bring their spirit!
Sorry, 1 second. I am receiving weird messages with shrimps. And
Oh,
sometimes I don't remember why. So it's Shrimp Week at Monterey Bay Aquarium. And if you sign up, they will send you text with shrimps and puns. But sometimes I forget them, that I look at the photo, I'm like, what the hell? Oh, it's the aquarium. They're lovely. Please go and support, go and support them. They're doing great things for shrimps and sea otters as well.
oh, good.
Yeah.
In the name of keeping the channel educational, I learned something about shrimp actually just a little bit before the stream started, which is that you cannot cook a shrimp by hooking it up to a 6-volt battery. It does not generate enough heat to cook the shrimp.
How did this happen? How did you learn this?
Yes, I watch a great YouTube channel called Ordinary Sausage, which is all about, like, cooking food unusually, I guess is the way I would put it. And his most recent episode was experimenting on cooking a shrimp with a battery, and the 6-volt battery does not do it. But he has promised a motorcycle battery next time to see if it's possible with electricity at all.
Wow.
Well then.
Gods!
Oh, okay. So I think we have learned something. We have learned that if your domination army loses its general, it just goes away.
Oh well.
Oh.
So we are gonna be
None
starving
shall
out Maldia, I think, for a little while longer. Oh well.
That's
I
not
fight
a
for my
problem.
brothers. I do what must be
We should
done.
have expected that. I mean, those.
Oh, there is the great king, Shupaliliuma.
You and me now.
Let's see, what does the map look like for this? Do we get a settlement? Oh yeah, okay. That'll be interesting. Yeah, so I think we're gonna fight this one out because we get to go up against Shupaliliuma himself. Which I always like to fight the faction leaders. It's always interesting.
Battle of Sarcha.
Okay, let's see the Great King in action. Oh, we're gonna see him actually on the battlefield.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so the enemy's going to be bringing in some troops from a fortress, so we need to deal with that first, I think.
Go for it. Because fortresses send reinforcements, unfortunately for everyone involved. So we're gonna have to take them down, and then we can fight the Great King himself.
Yes. Not to be confused with the cat, the Great King. This is the
No, not the other Great King. The cat. Is he still? Yeah, he's still melting on the chair.
We will write them down. Grenades! Slaughter them!
Curled in a ball.
We love him. He's a great cat.
Them down!
No, he's stretched.
There they are! Chariots with speed! Right, men! We sighted them! Chariots, get going! To slaughter! Swordsmen! Reef sharp! I live to slay! Swordsmen! Break you! Send them arrows! I'll strangle you! Wipe them out!
I don't know if you can hear it, but sometimes they do have the weirdest battle cries in this game. I live to slay is just... It's very odd. It also really sounds... It sounds like the kind of thing you would hear either in an ancient battlefield or in, like, a nightclub.
Or in
Right.
America's Next Top Model, or
Yeah.
like RuPaul's Drag Race, I Live to Slay. Which, to be fair, considering,
March onwards!
considering the people with whom we are dealing, I wouldn't put it past them. But yeah, they have some weird, or they yell their own name. It's like, are you like Pitbull, Mr. Worldwide? Like, what is going on here? I don't think that like battle cries would be the leader yelling their own name. Not even Pharaoh, probably. Although, who knows? Ramesses II. Sounds like something that Ramesses II may have done. Or, forced people to do. But yeah, they have catch lines. Oh, I see fire. I see we're raining fire on them.
Yep.
Supululiuma did come up with the innovation for his time in his royal inscriptions, where every other Hittite emperor started all their inscriptions with "Thus says so-and-so, the great king." His is "I am Supululiuma, His Majesty, the great king."
Oh, that's the Assyrian way of doing it.
Well, that's the Assyrian way of doing it from like Sennacherib and later. I mean, before that is very similar, the Babylonian thing where it's like the name and then all the titles and then am I.
Yeah, for those of you interested in studying ancient languages, having taken a class on it, Assyrian royal inscriptions are a really fun way to learn Akkadian, and they're also just such fun literature. They get very weird, like when they start mixing in the campaign inscriptions into the titles, or campaign descriptions rather. So they're like, I am Ashur Ubalit, great king, king of kings, king of the four corners, etc., etc. The guy who did, and then like list off an entire battle narrative, and then it actually gets to the point of what the inscription is about.
You get a lot of fun vocabulary in the titles too. I think it's Ashurbanipal. Maybe other Assyrian kings have this title, but definitely him. It's like the Great Dragon, or Mighty Dragon.
Ooh, I love that. Is this like a Near Eastern dragon? So like the dragon that is actually a quadruped, or is it like a?
Oh, yeah.
Right, like the ones on the gates of Babylon.
Mm-hmm.
That is an interesting dragon. None of my students would believe that was a dragon. I was like, listen, I don't make the dragon rules, okay? This is out of my hands. If they tell you that's a dragon, that is a dragon, okay? And we are not here to judge the taxonomy of dragons. We'll just take them at face value.
For everything else, the Hittite titles are pretty basic. Because their epithets are modeled on their sort of quasi-cartouche with the two crowns and the sun disk surrounding the name of the king. So it's always like, I am the great king, Supululiuma, his sun god, great king, and then they're like son of, grandson of.
Yeah, and also in to answer the chat, in Egyptian inscriptions, pharaohs speak like the inscriptions are in the third person. And then if someone is speaking, then you will have the inscription saying, the words spoken of by blah, blah, blah. And then, quotation marks, which are not really there. And then you have pharaohs speaking in first person, or the gods speaking in first person. But it depends. It depends. But like, if you look at the opening of letters between, pharaohs and other kings, there's usually, my brother, right, the king of so-and-so. And you can see when someone has actually gained the right to be called my brother by Pharaoh, so they've conquered a crown, or a throne somehow. And some other times, pharaohs are not nice at all and don't call someone brother. And then that's when you know that they're like, nah, you're not worth it. You're not worth my time.
Yeah. There's a wonderful letter from the Hittite emperor to the Assyrian king, where the Assyrian king has just conquered something in Syria and sent a letter and addressed him like to the great king of Hatti, my brother. And the Hittite emperor returns like, "Why do you call me my brother? Were we born of the same mother? So you conquered such and such a place. Everyone has conquered that. No longer call me brother."
Oh yikes! That's look, we had the octopus on top of our banner.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think for the
The sea serpent.
Yeah, for a general. There you go. That's the octopus. Even though we are not them. And yes.
Your maker.
There is a
Well,
letter.
Down.
There's a letter from Ramesses II answering a letter from the Hittite king asking about his envoy. And Ramesses says the ancient equivalent of "I don't know her," but he's Ramesses II, so he says, "Who is this dog?" Referred to the envoy. Like, okay, perhaps not the best of relationships there at the time. Yeah, but yeah, ancient trash talk is great.
Yeah, so Amarna letter 16 is a really funny one that that's the one I like got done for homework yesterday, and it's first of all, that's the one this game quotes it where it's like, "Please give me some gold. You have so much of it. Can I just have a little?" But then also the part where the Assyrian king complains to the Egyptians that all his emissaries are dying of heat stroke because the pharaoh won't let them into the palace, so they just stand outside all day and then die. It's like
They're like, "My dudes."
it's like, is it giving you some benefit to kill all my emissaries? Because if it is, by all means continue. But what?
Well, why are you killing them? And Pharaoh's answer was probably, "They can't stand the heat, then, get off my street." Or something of the sort, but like an Egyptian, probably.
Yes.
You definitely
So-
get the sense that the Assyrians wish they were one of the great powers.
They did, right?
But
They
they're
were
not
the wannabes, the parvenu of the time.
Meet your maker.
One of my students, so when I was explaining that Bronze Age collapse and everything else, and the Assyrians survived, and one of my students was like, "Just like cockroaches." I was like, "Yes, yes, yes." I mean, no lies detected there, with all due respect, but yes, it survived. They were, angry people, so they survived out of spite, probably, or not being on the sea. Also possible. Let's see. I've been looking at Amarna letters and chats, and I haven't looked at the at our conquering efforts.
Yeah,
I
so-
mean,
What I'm trying to do is see if we can get some house fires going, because that
Yes.
actually, so the more of a defending settlement that you can burn down, the more penalties the enemy army gets as they watch all their homes get destroyed.
Swordsman.
Of course, it also damages the settlement and reduces its value to you, if you're planning on building an empire there. But if you just want to burn it down anyway,
wouldn't be us.
Where is the great king
so
hiding
he
out?
is
Exactly.
right
We
here.
need to see him.
Oh.
You can see him. He stands out. He's in the bright red. Look at his. Oh, that's actually really cool armor on the troops, like the Lamellar. And there he's with his cape.
Yo,
He's
they're
like a
hat.
head taller than everybody.
Yeah.
Because he's the great king. He's not the small king, so he's good. They're also running pretty fast for people covered in bronze. If that's bronze. If that's leather, then they're running fast because, leather.
Yeah.
Chariot, get going. Burn them to cinders.
To say kudos to the devs, the Hittite Civil War was a really fun thing to throw in.
It's good. And we got antlers on a helmet, which is a great classic for video games in general.
Well, and that's a great touch because Kurunta's name is derived from the stag god.
Yeah. And in the game, actually, he says, "I am the stag god."
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and the name of the achievement when you win a Total War campaign with Kurunta is actually "I am Kurunta reborn." So, or the stag god reborn, something of the sort. So it's really cool. They really went with that. Yeah. They all have great catchphrases, I'm not gonna lie.
March onwards.
Apparently, they just discovered a new tablet detailing some settlements that were burned in the Civil War, but I haven't found the publication of it yet.
We must get into the Civil War.
Yeah,
Okay,
I actually do kind of like the angle they give Shippolyoma here. They make him sort of a tragic hero, like that Shippolyoma II actually tries to save the Hittite Empire and just historically fails because it was basically impossible to do that, but that he does make a good effort and is not, unlike almost all the other rulers portrayed in this game, terrible in some way or another. I think Tausret is the other one that, like, Ramses III, they kind of make good, but even him, I think he doesn't come across as, like, flawless. I think Shippolyoma and Tausret are the only two that are like, okay, you're actually largely benevolent despots.
Right, you try, at least. Although she's a little schemy. So there's the thing that, like, oh, she's a female, like, right, she's a female ruler, so she gets things done through soft power rather than violence, which on the one hand, it is a ruling trait, but on the other hand, why does it have to be associated with the only woman in the game to be a leader, right?
Yes.
Choices are made there too, because we don't know if she was actually like that or if she was just bludgeoning people left and right. It's just an assumption because she's a woman. Much like Bay is, he's Canaanite. It's kind of queer-coded, like, kind of very.
I'd say more than kind of. Unfortunately, we killed him, so you won't get to see it. But I do recommend just looking up the art. He is like wearing a full peacock costume. It is wild.
Interesting.
Yeah, there were choices there, right? It's like, oh, he's schemy and he's making kings and he's also pretty queer-coded, and he's a Levantine. Right?
Yeah.
But also, yes, chat, kings should be 9 feet tall like Xerxes in 300. Yes, and devoid of any body hair, right? Who wants the body hair on a king?
Exactly, it's just common sense.
It's just, yeah, that's just what kings look like. They have no beards, ever. I mean, pharaohs, for sure. Not since the Old Kingdom. I mean, I think we had the weird mustache, the pencil mustache in the Old Kingdom, maybe, but like, from then onwards, apart from the fake beard, I can't think of kings with facial hair in Egypt. Not even princes, probably.
No, I mean, it's kind of the interesting thing. Beards are mandatory, but you aren't allowed to grow them.
Whereas, like in Hittite art, like the little, like the few things I've seen, I remember some very impressive beards, especially in the gods.
Gods have very impressive beards. There's one representation of a king where he's bald, and I think also doesn't have a beard.
Yeah, maybe there was like an actual lack of hair problem, like for real.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Could be.
It could be. I
It's an
don't know what.
interesting choice. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Art historically.
That works. But in here they've made like most Hittites actually have like good beards. Does Kurunta have a beard? Now I forget. Let me immediately check.
Warriors of Canaan!
He has oily hair, which is, gross. He doesn't seem to have a beard. He has like some stubble, but like not much beard.
See, I don't remember him having one.
Yeah, he has a stubble. It's like he has like a 1 or 2 day long, like I didn't shave today. I didn't shave yesterday, and I haven't shaven this morning kind of beard. He has some just a little bit. But and I mean our dude Iolaos is clean shaven because Alexander. But the other one has an impressive beard. Like the Pelazet leader has an impressive beard.
Right. The Pelazet leader, I suspect he's modeled on Goliath.
Yes, absolutely he is.
So
I think
been-
I
and
heard
that-
they confirmed
even
that
the
at some
name they
point.
chose, Welwetes, that's coming from an inscription they found at Gath that
Axe warriors!
the excavators sort of toy with. Maybe this is what the Philistine name of Goliath was, but it's Welwet.
Swordsman!
Ooh, well. I mean, he's big and burly and he kills people, you know, and he has a bludgeon. Same, you know, family of iconography as Irsu, who is a brute with a lion skin, right? And a lion as his emblem.
Yes.
Wipe them out!
That's fun.
And yeah, that's Irsu is where they really went into the Egyptian propaganda angle of it, like, because that is a famous case of like, was this even a real person? Let alone did he do the specific deeds ascribed to him, except in the mindset of the Egyptians who needed a villain.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Because all we know about the guy is that, like, Merneptah talks about how terrible he was. But was he actually terrible versus, you know... It is fun to have somebody like that in a game, but, you know, then...
Right.
Yeah, you need like an evil person who's just evil and wants destruction. Although, does he? I know you get bonuses if you raise settlements with
Yep.
Irsu. So basically, you're playing as a sea person,
But the
but
land
you're actually
version.
yeah, exactly. So like a land person, a settled Canaanite.
We will not falter!
And I'm curious. Ooh, there we go. The other question. So,
And slay!
if you could choose one or two new factions to add in the next DLCs, which ones would you want?
Split them out!
Hmm.
Born to do battle!
So, well, you think I can answer this one first? I am torn.
Oh, yeah.
I think I've mentioned this before. I would really probably the one I would most immediately want is like a faction pack that is the one Nubian and one Libyan leader. Like extend
Yes.
the Nubia map a little further south than Napata to give more like range to put somebody who would be basically somebody trying to establish the proto-polity that would eventually turn into the 25th dynasty Kushite kingdom of the, you know, that would be powerful a few centuries later. Like basically somebody trying to do that and resist Egyptian imperialism, and then a Libyan leader, which I would also like them to take in a more interesting direction than they did at Irsu, but I don't know that they will. But like have like a great chief of the Ma or something like that as an option.
Sheshonk. Give us Sheshonk. Give us, you know, all the weirdly named silver pharaohs with their fancy sarcophagi. No, I would like that. I would like that a
We will
lot.
not falter!
Briana, who would you want to see? Who would you like to see? If we had to add.
Axe warriors!
Oh, well, I see that Briana has... Her internet has left us. Dr. Hogue, who would you like to see if you had to choose to add a few factions or leaders?
For Bronze Age collapse. I mean, if we're adding leaders, I'd want to add the king of Carchemish, Kuzi Tesha. Because
Yes.
he took the title Great King when Suppiluliuma II was out of the picture and built himself a tiny little empire. Like, that'd be a fun campaign. Besides him, I don't know. I mean, maybe if like a Moru was playable,
Ooh.
or I mean, if we
Ooh.
wanted to get really goofy, like some of their reconstructions are here, like the Mitanni remnant or something weird.
Run away!
Because people are talking about, and I would like to see the Assyrians added, but the problem is the
Yeah.
Assyrians were like, as I understand it, the Middle Assyrian Empire was doing pretty well at this point, and they would need somebody as an opponent, so
Right.
they don't just kind of barrel over everyone. And if they put in the King of Carchemish, that would be a stopgap. Where it wouldn't just be like the Assyrians roll into the Hittite civil war and immediately crush them. because that's what
Right.
would happen otherwise.
Yeah, that'd be a good balance. I mean, for the Assyrians, you need like I don't know what would you call it? You need like a total war Iron Age. Like Neo-Assyrians, Neo-Babylonians, Canaan, Egypt. Like play out like the 7th century.
Oh, yeah, that would also be really interesting.
Fight for glory.
But this game did not sell super well, unfortunately, and we're gonna see where Creative Assembly goes. Because I would love to see that, but there's a lot of stuff I'd love to see that I don't think we're ever going to get, like the promised Three Kingdoms 2, like honestly, yeah, actually, like any Total War game that deals with the Indian subcontinent in any meaningful way. Because Empire Total War does not count. They did not.
No.
There were 2 factions in India. At the turn of the 18th century. What?
Wake up, comrades.
Have they done a like Total War Con?
X-Men.
The
Like,
Mongols show up in
Con?
Medieval 2. When
Okay.
they're gonna do Medieval 3, there's enough fan support for it, and when they do, the Mongols are gonna show up. But there's no
I mean,
like,
They
just
will have to, but it's just a horde.
there's no like Secret Lives of the Mongols type game where you can
Oh,
follow.
so you
Great
could-
Hittite storm god there.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's him. That's him
That's
with the
pretty
beard,
accurate.
as
Storm
you can
god
see.
statue.
I love,
Imposing too.
yeah, and with the little
It's like-
flower
it's a
crown.
thing.
No one can break us.
We do like that.
Oh, nice.
Nice. I am partial, so I would like, yeah, the chat is saying the Minoans. I would like the Mycenaeans. I would like the Mycenaeans.
Yeah. Need the Mycenaeans for Bronze Age collapse.
Right?
I mean, they can. I don't know if it would be too much of a rip-off, but they just did Total War Troy, like
Yeah.
add Troy.
Exactly. Listen, those units are there. Those units are there. But yeah, the Mino or you know, pretend that the Minoans are still kind of going and have the Keftiu. Why not? Why not? It would be interesting. Or you know, Babylon. Just give us Babylon. Just
Work hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You leave.
expand and give us Babylon. Ooh, okay. Did we get any better armor and shield for this dude?
Oh
Just
yeah, we
asking.
do.
Yeah,
we've
we
gotten
did.
we've gotten some good stuff. So some better medium armor and this
And a warrior shield. That's a better shield.
I think we're
He hasn't changed much. Oh yeah.
Oh, we can give him a trident gives heroic advance. That's pretty good. I like that.
Oh, why not? Why not?
I'd love to see if that gets rendered interestingly. Oh yeah, because we have all these
Yo!
standards for
Look at all the
movement at
standards,
sea,
okay.
XP from battles, more movement at sea, a double sarcophagus, sulfur tipped
practice
arrowheads.
Mandragora
Oh, the
root.
classic
Ooh.
lettuce for
The
workforce
lettuce.
growth.
Always great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Always a classic.
Sea pirate and adventurer.
And also,
So we're gonna
I was like,
yeah.
who that? Yeah, he's
Yeah, this
one
guy's.
of us.
Yeah, I'm hoping that he can take care of burning down Jawa, and we can have our stronger army do more interesting stuff like destroy Megiddo.
Like destroy Megiddo. Exactly. I mean, it's a classic. It's a classic. We
Yeah, see
gotta-
that is a good Canaanite name, Abdi Melkart.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes,
that's a great
finally.
Canaanite name.
They cannot hold out.
And Bodesh.
Bodesh Moon. That's a Neo-Punic name.
Okay. The Shekelesh are invading. Good for them. We love that for them. We got waves, but we are not. I mean, we are the wave, so we
Yes.
don't care.
No, more. Those are just always helpful. The more chaos everyone else is causing, the easier it is for us to cause chaos.
Definitely.
Shouldn't we have an Egyptian garrison at Megiddo right now in history?
So this is we'll just call it one of those things. Yeah, this army unfortunately I think is not going to be able to do it.
Not a good time.
Um,
Head back.
is the Egypt, it's portrayed as though like Egypt has completely collapsed in on itself. So it makes for more interesting Total War gameplay, but also isn't necessarily accurate. Like there should definitely be more ties, but it's it's hard to represent a situation of like there is broad networks of patronage, but like real military control is a different situation. Like that's not a Total War type thing to do.
That's not what we do in this house.
Like
Nice.
if you want the only time that people even come close to like realistically representing ancient world diplomacy, maybe the Europa Universalis mod that pushes the clock back to the 7th century, like that might do it some. And even that's not perfect, and there is really nothing else, unfortunately.
I do what must be done to survive.
India.
This is your last day.
Ooh. Can we convert any of them?
We
don't
can,
need to.
but
That's
I
great.
want to see if I can get,
Whoa.
because you get more if you do it for a larger settlement, it looks like.
Here.
So,
Also, I mean, our Etruscan warlord is living.
yeah.
March.
He really is good. He's that good.
Set up camp.
Oh yeah, because we can get our Idol of Larun
Yeah,
going.
Larun, yes.
In this
And we
world,
got one more slot to build. Incredible.
Well, yeah, because
He's a
you
big-
had 10 slots total, and you can just keep going until you're out of slots, pretty much. Kind of want to get replenishment. That's starting to be an issue here.
gather all able-bodied men. Get things moving. Life.
Yeah, we
is
can
not
get some
fair.
better people. Yeah, there you go.
Neither am I.
So we got more armored cannon. Because whenever you convert a unit, you get to recruit it back in later. Like they just kind of hang around until you're ready for them.
Seafaring raiders, spear
Because
chargers.
we get some of we unlocked some of the broader Sea People's recruitment pool through our various successes.
Oh, did you see the Bortusk helmets down there?
Strong man makes
Oh,
strong.
yeah, let's
There's a unit. There's a unit with the yeah.
the Islander
yeah,
Young
that's it.
Spears.
Nice.
Mycenaeans. Or Minoans, depends.
Sea
You know,
pirate and
it's
adventurer.
Minoans. You know, Minoans in recovery.
March
Who knows?
until arrival.
Do we want to burn this down also? They're just... Kanesh is reasonably strong, and I think we have to focus on Shipuliliuma right now.
Over there. Go.
Just try and make sure that he's out of this region.
Yo, he's almost done.
Cut
in
him
there.
half.
In those regions. I don't know
But
how
I
much,
have more important
you know,
matters to do.
how much more he owns.
Well, he
Can
has,
we
he has
send
like
spies?
8 settlements. Oh, we can, yeah. We do have a ton of gold just sitting around.
Might as well.
So if
Okay,
we-
so now we can see all of his settlements. Okay.
And his armies, and we have...
And his armies.
So he's got this small
I
army
am
here,
busy right
and
Boo.
mostly, yeah, it looks like he's mostly relying on, because I think he has a vassal here, and then, yeah, into Hattusha.
And then Hattusha. Ooh, I will be curious to see how Hattusha, but
Only
not yet.
Strength matters.
Yeah, upgrade that too.
Yeah.
Survival.
Yeah, we got plenty. And then we are sieging Megiddo, and the other army was moving towards Java, right? Which I call
Yes.
Java, but should be Yawa.
Yeah, if you get to Hattusa, the devs didn't catch it, but the best quote, the royal funerary ritual, the great calamity befalls Hattusa, then the king has become a god.
Ooh. I mean, well, only one way to find out. You know what? We gotta go there.
Yeah, no, I would love in this campaign to destroy, like, the big cities, you know?
Did we steal their heavy units? Good.
Yep. Steal a good unit for later use, and, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So with the rest of them.
Good. Yeah, we'll take them on. We don't care.
No.
No, sir. No. No, you don't understand. Although, Oh boy.
Yep, that's immediately just deleted the army.
Oh, sorry, sir. Ow. Ow.
Nice.
Ozir Samar. That's doesn't really roll off the tongue, does it?
What is it? Doesn't look Canaanite.
Maybe they rolled the wheel, and they're like, and you know, it's gonna start with this syllable, and then it's gonna be this one, and then it's gonna end with an R.
I've achieved.
Who knows? Who knows? Oh, we gained Assyrian bronze works as an auxiliary. Not bad.
It doesn't just tell us in the pop-up. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, that would be a nice, you know, quality of life improvement.
Pirate! Raider!
And
Keep
then
them
lay
busy.
siege to that, and take Megiddo,
With
and
your blessing.
Necessarily.
yeah, immediately burn it.
Yes. Yes. Oh, can we burn and exterminate? Do we have enough eminence for that? Or
let's see.
terror?
I don't know. No, we do not.
Oh, that's sad. We could
expensive.
raise and exterminate, but alas. We will just raise it. The collapse is like total now. Like nobody's safe.
Yep.
Nowhere is safe.
Especially because we are descending on Ashkelon. It's going to be a very, a pretty big, you know, cult center.
Okay, so tell us about Ashkelon. Why was it important? Who was worshipped there? Whose city was it?
Stand easy.
It's
Who
good
was in Ashkelon?
because in this game it's showing as Yam's city.
Yam, who got like in this game he got mixed up with his own animal, with his own
Right,
pet.
he looks like Leviathan.
Yes, the poor guy. Like they did him dirty. They did some of the gods dirty here. I'm not gonna lie. Like, and we have more.
Yeah. I mean, it's viable that Yam might be worshipped in Canaanite Ashkelon. I don't know that it's his city,
March!
but can give him a city, I suppose.
Oh yeah, yeah. Every cult center may or may not have like the great temple of a god. So it's like it has to be like a regional god and has to belong to the faction that originally owns the place. So technically speaking, you know, if you conquer the interestingly enough, if you conquer the cities that may or may not have been, you know, in the Greek side of Anatolia much later, you don't get local gods, but you get an acropolis.
Huh. Interesting.
Which is, it's, right? It is
Yeah.
a choice. And like, so you're telling me that these are Greeks without telling me that these are Greeks because Greeks do not exist as a concept yet? And you don't get the cult center. Like the status of cult center. But in other cities usually have them. But if you play as someone who worships the Aten, no cult center, like no other gods, temples anymore. Like even when you conquer foreign cities, you can only build temples to the Aten. There are
And you
no
can-
other gods.
You can worship the Aten in this game?
You can
You
build
can
your own
create
Aten.
the Aten. Yes, you can build your own Aten made of whichever gods you want. And you can colonize Akhetaten, which is like rubbles and fire, only if you worship the Aten. Everyone else cannot.
As you
So-
all should.
Excuse you, ma'am. We are not here to listen to Aten propaganda. But we actually did that for a first playthrough. We played like the early access, and we were like, yes, let's make the Aten, and we made a gender fluid Aten because why not?
Oh, that fits.
Yeah,
I buy it.
great. Yeah, it checks out. So yeah, you can worship the Aten. So you can choose. For Egypt, there are 4 legacies that you can choose. You can be Akhenaten 2.0. You can be Hatshepsut 2.0, so you trade. You can be Thutmoses, I'm assuming the third, 2.0, so you conquer. Or you can be Khufu and you build.
Oh.
For the Hittites, I think that one of the legacies asks you to make a lot of babies. Because
No.
the name of the achievement is Eager Beaver. And I'm assuming that has something to do with making a lot of princes. So,
You do make princes,
Yeah.
but you don't like not in that sense. You appoint them.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Whoa.
Look at that.
Oh, okay, okay.
What the?
Like this.
Okay.
Everyone's, it's the ancient YMCA. What is it?
I mean, it looks like they found one sort of, guy from that's a recognizable pose from rock art, but I don't know that you'd have a bunch of them all together.
It's a flash mob.
It doesn't look like a
Oh my
real
god, I
rock
was just about to
monument.
say that, Kate.
Same brain. Incredible. It's like, what? Why?
Smash their hands!
Where are we
Oh,
now?
yeah.
Are we in a field?
We
Field
are in
battle?
this is a field battle in like southern Anatolia.
Did I just see some Luvian troops, or am I misreading?
Oh.
it?
Yep, nope. These are Luvians, and under Shipolilio's
Ooh.
command.
Nice.
Great.
And southern Anatolia, that's correct.
No one
That's
can
where you would
break
find Luwian troops. Unfortunately, they're gonna fight against our Sardinian angry boys, so they're not going to be, they're not going to be there for long. But we will. The chat loves the rock card. It's like the stamps on the side of a plane. How many cities have you raised? Several. We don't have count actually, but we've raised at least 25, at least. You can follow our trail of destruction. We've raised a lot. Some we have raised and exterminated, but only the good ones. Like last time, which one did we raise and exterminate last time? That we were waiting for it.
Oh, I don't remember now that you mention it. But yeah, that's usually for like the really large, famous ones.
Yeah.
Maybe
Like
it was
the good, yeah.
like Carchemish, for example.
It was
It's
Carchemish.
usually-
It was Carchemish,
Okay, yeah.
probably. Yeah. We did. That's what we do.
Axe warrior! To slaughter! On our way! Use those slings! This way, brothers! Hey, where? Winds guide us! Clubs!
Yes, and in this one, I don't know if you get to see it, but I did pull out one of the other options that we have that I think is actually really fun. Is just intimidating people, dropping their morale just by sheer force of, hey, look how many cities we burned.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, you know what we did to your neighbors? You know what we did to their neighbors' neighbors? You know who we are? I mean, from the letters that go around at the time, you get the sense that people were fucking scared of these,
Brothers!
invaders coming and burning. And like seeing ships was like an anxiety-inducing thing because you're like, whose ships are those? Right? Are these the ships that come to help, or are these the ships that come to burn everything and kill everyone? So there is like a sense of general anxiety around these. I do wonder if some people were using PR for that. Like we're using that to do like PR job for them. So maybe people would surrender before being, killed and raised, which is kind of what we're doing here with many of these cities, right? We're convincing them to come to our side and then just,
Born to do battle!
they just what we want. Oh, the Hattusan archers. Are those the heavy ones?
yeah, well, they're reasonably heavy archers, but they are armored.
Okay.
Want to break us!
Okay. Not too shabby. They have a. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, this is they had gotten this to be a pretty like substantial city, so this is a real garrison. But it should mean also there's plenty of stuff inside for us to take.
Oh yeah. Where's our fashion victim general? What is he doing? How is he behaving? It's very important. Good. Oh, you can see his crest.
Yes.
He's in the thick of things.
See, it helps you stand out in battle, and there's no downsides to that. There's no reason in battle that you might not want your importance to be noticed. It's perfectly
Right?
fine.
Why would you wear tall plumes and maybe a purple cloak and, you know, a leopard skin, perhaps?
Yes.
Right? Right,
Oh,
who would-
yeah. Oh, I wonder if we've unlocked just, this is probably the last battle we're going to do, but if we can go on the diplomacy screen and just take a look at Amonmes and his
Yes.
beautiful, beautiful design.
He's also like he's the fashion authority, like no doubt that he's the fashion authority in this game. He's also the thirst trap in this game. I feel very confident about saying that because he's well. First of all, everyone lifts here, right? This is like there's no body positivity here. Everybody is perfect here, which is Egyptian propaganda. You know, everyone
Like
is
Assyrian
hot.
propaganda.
Or Syrian propaganda, or like everyone's propaganda because everyone is hot, apart from Irsu. Although, you know, maybe I don't know, maybe he's some people's type. We're not gonna judge. Ooh, the chat is asking. So the Sea Peoples were like the terror part of the War on Terror, and he's wondering how local leaders kept their populace feeling calm.
I don't know. Do we have? Most of it is just like local kings responding in terror. Not a lot of like leftover evidence that I know of how they would sort of keep people calm. But
Where they keeping people calm at all is
yeah.
the question, right?
I wouldn't compare them to terrorists. The comparison that's been made in recent scholarship that I think is the best is pirates. Like, they show up, they raid. I mean, you know, pirates have become pretty fun in our culture, but would have been similarly terrifying if you, like, your settlement is getting raided.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the better.
And people taken away. And like,
Yeah.
and that's a great Mediterranean tradition. Like, no matter the time, no matter the religion, there's always pirates. And there's always pirates who will take people, enslave them, and then some people will turncoat and become pirates themselves. One of the most famous admirals of the Ottoman Empire, Uluç Ali, was actually an enslaved man from Calabria, and he was a turncoat. He converted, and then he became an admiral for the Ottoman Empire. So that is absolutely not like the exception. Yeah. There's actually a statue to him in the small village from which he came in Calabria. It's ridiculous. I love it.
That's great.
But you know, but then again, you know, the Italians there would call them pirates because, like, oh, you know, they were raiding coastal cities, they were enslaving people, they were stealing stuff. Those are pirates, right? Even if they
Right.
belong to a great empire. So even more so, if you don't belong nominally to a great empire, then yes, you're a pirate or a Viking. Yeah, also good thing.
Yeah.
Although Vikings are not. Viking is a profession and not an ethnic group, right? So you go a Viking, and then the rest of the year you just plant your crops and you do your thing. But these people were trying to. I mean, some of these people may have just tried to settle down. And when the land is occupied, how do you settle down? Well, you need to beat people up. Right? Just what the Greeks did in Sicily, for instance. And yet,
Generally, the pattern we have is they seem to start off as like sea-born raiders. It's not really like an ethnic group. It's these people from, I mean, maybe they're from islands. Some of them are probably from Anatolia, from the Aegean, raiding up and down the coast, and then they settle and they assimilate. Like most of our texts about the Sheridan are from Egypt, and they're assimilating to Egyptian culture, even though they're continuously called Sheridan. The Peliset settled on within a few generations. Their material culture is almost indistinguishable from the rest of Canaan.
right. Yeah, they don't bring their own. They just use what is there. At that point, which is also like a big issue when you talk about invasions. It's like, where do we see the invasion though? Because like, if people come and then adopt the local material culture, is that invasion? Is that assimilation? Is it a mishmash of both? And we should not trace, you know, lines that are that, you know, that
Right.
straight, right? Metaphorically. So yeah, so many good questions, so many good comparisons. So, how are we doing in terms of conquering and killing?
Yes. So right now, unfortunately, our army is not rested enough, and Jawa has like some other support, like garrisons. Yeah, like this lookout post. We're gonna need to destroy to make sure that we can actually take Jawa. Because unfortunately, otherwise, it actually like has a functioning garrison, which is not something that we want.
Yeah, we don't want to deal with that.
But generally doing pretty okay with destroying that. We have taken out Yapo, so basically all of the Levant now has been raised. Shibbolethoma has retaken a little bit, and we're going to do our best to unretake it. That's part of the trouble is playing as a horde, is you're like kind of playing cleanup for your own destruction to make sure the other settled factions don't take it back. But this area actually having all these various sea people groups has been very helpful in kind of keeping them down. As we head south towards what Elias's, hopefully next time's destination is going to be Ramses, and seeing what we can do with that. Oh yes, let's see if we can get.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Oh no, all we get is Ramses. This is like, it's a little extra for a non-pharaoh to be looking like that, but it's not the most absurd I have ever seen.
Where we can see Amen Messi from the main menu.
Oh yes, all right. So we can save, and we'll go to the main menu briefly to show off Amen Mess, because this is the end. I need to get going soon. I have a review session to lead, and which
no worries.
On the off chance that any of my students are watching, even though I am here and this is about Egypt and educational, this will not help you study for the exam on Tuesday. You do.
It should though.
You do actually need to look at the review slides, but
let's
go to the main menu.
Okay.
Aten.
Fear not the dark. No, we fear the atom more than we fear the dark, because the dark doesn't give us skin tumors.
Here's our faction leaders. We got Ramses.
I am the rising dawn.
He looks like a 17th dynasty coffin. That's what he looks like with the wings. Seti is wearing like a.
Runs through me.
Seti's wearing a woman's dress.
Yeah, I was gonna say
that's what he's wearing.
He's wearing a sundress.
He says gender, I don't care. I look great in this.
The belt is nice. The arm wrappings are not typically Egyptian.
He looks like Ramses from the Ten Commandments movie.
Yes, he
in
does.
1953.
Yul-Brynner.
But he's not as attractive, because Yul-Brynner was a good-looking man. This is Tazret, and she gives us gloves.
Yes.
Because she's an archer, so she needs the gloves, right? She's fantastic.
And then Amen looks like that.
Whoa.
Oh yeah.
That's great.
Fishnets, leopard tunic, the whatever is going on with that collar, the Amun crown. He's got fur on his shield. Like, oh, it's just so extra. And then we were talking about Karunta. This is Karunta with the deer horns.
Yeah, that's fun.
And then of course Bay with his peacock feather crown.
Yeah. Yes. See why we say that
he's like modeled on Varys from Game of Thrones.
Yes, but like Varys after like, losing some weight and working out a little, because he's still got the biceps, so he's he's a little slightly queer coded. And by slightly I mean holy shit. But he's a fun starter to have.
Yes. Also, it looks like if your campaign is in collapse, the lighting changes on your faction leader.
Ooh. And there's flames in the back, and there's I guess the cinder and ash and smoke, because everything is collapsing.
Right.
Incredible.
That's fun.
All right.
Yes, what great things.
All right, I think we'll have to end it for this week here. But
so thank you so much for joining us. This was an absolute blast, as always. We're always making the most of it and being chaotic. And today we also learned things, so this was great. Thank you, chat, for asking and talking and sending DMs with stuff on dragons. Thank you, Briana, for being here with the cat who's melted on the chair. We love him. Oh. He's the nicest. As always, thank you, Jacob, for leading our troops to victory and destroying everything. we will be back next week, actually, for more distraction. We might, after all, destroy Ashkelon. Thank you, everyone. Thank you again for joining us. This was a pleasure. This was nice. Every time you want to join us and be a nerd about names and be pedantic with us, please join us. As you have seen, we also like nerding out. We really like our literature and our Amarna letters. And yeah, so have a good rest of the weekend, everyone, and we will see you next time.